The results are out. The Pakistani people have spoken, but there is no clarity over who will be the next Prime Minister. The person getting the top post has his task cut out for him. Pakistan is staring at bankruptcy. By March 31st, it will need a bailout from the IMF. But first, let us look at the election results. Independents are at the top of the pyramid with 101 seats. Out of them, 91 are bagged by Imran Khan's PTI. Then comes Pakistan Muslim League-Nawaz with 75, followed by the PPP at 54. But it's not a clear picture. The pre-election favourite, Shehbaz Sharif, has failed to live up to the hype and is now trying to cobble up a coalition. Behind bars, Imran Khan is smiling as the independent bloc he is backing is the leading vote catcher. But the rules of the game do not favour him. The independents have 48 hours to join another group to make their voice count. These are images of Nawaz Sharif's brother, Shehbaz Sharif, driving to Bilawal Bhutto Zardari's house in Lahore. Hugs and handshakes for the cameras. Behind the screens, the leaders Pakistan People's Party and Pakistan Muslim League-Nawaz held tough negotiations. According to Geo News, the two parties are considering sharing the office of the Prime Minister in the 5-year term of the National Assembly. Sources tell WION that the PML-N offers the Prime Minister's position to PPP with the caveat that PML-N will take some key ministries. The ministries are not defined yet. PPP instead has offered them unconditional support and given the option to stay out of the government and support from outside. However, the chair of Prime Minister is a bone of contention. Nawaz's PML-N wants the top post, while the PPP has already nominated Bilawal Bhutto Zardari for the post.
We don't have enough of a majority to run the government ourselves, so we're inviting the other parties and candidates who succeeded in the election to work with us.
Pakistan cannot afford any kind of conflict, which is why I keep repeating that we must all sit down together, settle all these issues and bring Pakistan into the 21st century.
With Pakistan's two largest political parties wrangling over who will take the Prime Minister's job, the squabbling has cast doubts about the stability of the South Asian nation, mired in economic crises and battling rising militant violence. Pakistan's benchmark share index fell 2.1% on Monday, its first day of trading after the results. It's not just the people of Pakistan, but outsiders too are waiting for the new government. The International Monetary Fund says it will only talk to the new government to disburse the final loan tranche of $1.1 billion. The caretaker government of Pakistan had already met the IMF targets. Mona Alam is a journalist and is now joining us live from Islamabad. Good to see you, Mona, and welcome to WION World is One.
Thank you, Eric. Happy to be here.
Happy to be here. Happy to see you as well. How long will the world and indeed Pakistan have to wait to know who will be the Prime Minister-elect? What's the Election Commission saying?
As you rightly pointed out in your preamble, they do have, I think, 2 days still, the independents primarily, to join another party and get themselves a party name to themselves. And the PML-N is trying their best to pull in some of the independents, PTI-backed independents, into their camp. One of such deflection has happened yesterday, whereby a PTI-supported or PTI-backed independent candidate has joined the PML-N ranks. And I do not know whether more of them will follow or not. But if they do, then certainly it's a big, big threat to the PTI because they too are planning to join another party sometime soon. But owing to bad strategy on part of the PTI, I think they'll have to do it as early as possible. But still, there's no clear indication as to if they're joining a party or not, or which party may they be joining. There's no still clear indication as to what is the PTI's strategy regarding this. They need to have a strategy as soon as possible, because if they do not have one, more of such deflections are expected from the PTI camps. For the candidate who has joined just yesterday, there were these rumors that he was abducted and he was harassed into joining the PML-N, but later it turned out that there was no iota of truth in those. That particular candidate has joined on his free will. And if more of these will follow, then of course it's a big threat to the PTI. So once again, I think bad strategy is being reflected on PTI's part, despite the fact that public has clearly given them a huge mandate. And I'd also take this chance to elaborate further that I think elections in Pakistan, I mean, had they been rigged, I would not have expected this kind of a result, whereby the PTI-backed independents have taken these elections by a storm. Okay. And in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa particularly, they seem to be in a comfortable position to form a government. They're rather beyond a two-third majority, so they're in a very comfortable position to form a government. But still, obviously, if the candidates are disgruntled and if they think that some sort of tampering has happened with their results, then they do have all the legal options to explore, which is their legal right, and it is their democratic political right as well. But I just do not want them, or I do not want any other party to, take it to the roads and turn it into a street agitation, as they generally do, or as they used to do in the past. Because although going to the streets and protesting on the streets too is a democratic right, but it often tends to get hostile and it often tends to get violent when it's orchestrated by the PTI, unfortunately.
Mona, let me ask you this. Majority of the seats are from independent candidates. How is this going to change the face or matrix of politics going forward in Pakistan? Briefly.
Well, this is exactly where the catch is, because they're backed by the PTI, but as a matter of fact, they are independent, because the PTI does not have a symbol, and they've contested the elections on their own symbols. And yet, the people have chosen them, which is a reality, which means all the voters whom they've had, they actually knew what candidate was being floated by the PTI, and they knew their election symbols too. So, people have chosen to go by the social media camps and social media accounts of PTI, who have guided voters by their constituencies. So it's a matter of fact. But, the dynamics will change, because depending on the party where these independents will go, as I've briefed you earlier, okay. Because the PML-N is trying its best to pull in some of these independents to their camp. They have succeeded to some extent, going by one of such deflection yesterday, which has happened. But if they succeed further, then it's going to be a big dent to the PTI.
Mona, finally, talking about the mandate of the incoming Prime Minister, it's a huge entree of so much that the new leader needs to do when he takes charge. What should be his biggest priority at this moment?
I think whoever the new Prime Minister may be, because Bilawal Bhutto has conditioned his support to the PML-N with his premiership, as you earlier pointed out as well. But I think whoever that the new Prime Minister is, he needs to cut down on this atmosphere of confrontation here in the country, in Pakistan. It's becoming confrontational, it's becoming agitational day by day. And I think this has to go down. There has to be a certain common agenda or common points for all these politicians to sit together. And of course, I'm also of the belief that they must also include wholeheartedly the PTI in this entire process. PTI's leadership, PTI's founder, Imran Khan, he too should be a part of all these negotiations. And I think they have to have a break out of all this politics of hate and divide, which has unfortunately marred this country all these years and is only going bad, unfortunately, by every day. So I think this is the primary task. This is the main objective that the incoming Prime Minister, whoever that may be, should have in his mind if he takes office.
All right, I've been talking to Mona Alam, who's a journalist based in Islamabad. Thank you, Mona, for all your insights and for talking to WION World is One today.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you, Eric.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.